Alright, folks, welcome back, everyone. 欢迎大家回来。今天是第405天 is day 405. We indulged, we slept. I slept a bit longer today. Kind of did like a double 5 hours sleeping here. I didn't realize how tired I have been lately. Taking a break from our Kiwami playthrough thing a little bit for a day. Although did encounter someone new. Attempted to invest, right? Attempted to invest. And now we are kind of like 2 hours behind. So the bottom line for February is to complete our lessons, right? Complete our lessons, and March will be the time once again to strap up and finish up the reviews. For now, though, we're still gonna do some of the reviews. The reviews is to rotate the characters out. So the goal is to get characters for HanziHero. That's gonna be the new bottom line. We had two connected characters from yesterday, and that's Jian. How did Jian work? Right. So it's treacherous, and then Yuan. Crazy Rabbit. Yuan. And they both have like an air of treachery. So there's treacherous and injustice. All right. Now we're gonna get into our lessons and then do our characters. I don't know how long that's gonna take, but generally characters are in the vast minority. So we're gonna at least move our stuff in that way.
媲美
P May. P. Rival May. Beautiful rival, I suppose. Oh, compares favorably. That's why it's the May. I can. Okay. That's good.
媲美
I'm gonna write favorably, just in case. Compare
骏
favorably.
马
Jingma. Jing steed. Ma. Okay. Wait. It is horse. What did I think it was earlier?
骏马曙光
Self-explanatory. 曙光. 曙光. 曙 bright. 光 light. First light of dawn. Intriguing. Oh, because of this could be interpreted as daybreak, right? Oh, I'm thinking of shuo guang. This is shu guang. Yeah, daybreak. Fair enough. Daybreak light, first light of dawn, crack of dawn. Yep. Okay.
曙光
Crack of dawn is good. Let's use crack of dawn.
擅长
Shang Chang. Shang. How did Shang work? Or with a without authority. Chang. Long. How does that to be good at? Is that like a Jozu? All of a sudden. Chang Chang. That with interesting. Be good at sometimes is able to do something effortlessly for a long time, making everyone jealous and accusing you practice on the sly without authority. Interesting. Oh, they're cranberry. Interesting. Let's look at Chang for a moment. I think we're just gonna stick with That's such a pivot. I'll come back. I think to be good at it's just gonna be added to and am I learning English? No, I'm not learning English. Are under the lid of the toilets are having trouble creating enough flow for a whirlpool, and the plumber good at solving this problem is not going to arrive daybreak. Just gonna, are we good at here?正常正常正常 and we'll just combine both into it.
擅长
正常
发酵
发酵发酵 ferment and then fa to carry out. Okay. 发酵发酵
发酵媲美骏马发酵擅长
正常
曙光机舱
机舱机舱 aircraft cabin. Yeah, that's aircraft cabin. All right.
机舱破例
破例 how the poor work. 破 vigor and power. Bold. Interesting.
破例发愣
发愣 so carry out days or to be in the days. Yeah, send out, carry out. Okay. 发愣
发愣花瓣
花瓣 flower petal 花瓣
花瓣恍然大悟
恍然大悟恍然 so 恍 is sudden 然 so suddenly 恍然大悟 big 悟 big realize or okay suddenly realize. I see 大悟 okay. Hey, how's it going? Started HanziHero last week. How did it go? How do you remember the stroke orders? I write. That's how I remember the stroke orders. I write. So a year ago, like 2 years ago, I started with Duolingo. And we spent a year in Duolingo, like around 665 days, 365 days. And I used a strategy. I use an additional strategy that involves me making a mind web. So I mind webbed the characters. And in order to like draw, like in order to write like A to B to C, I had to write all the characters. And when Duolingo teaches, like when they do characters like kanji and Hanzi, they require that you write them. In the section, it requires that you write them. So you write those characters over and over again. And when you learn about, like, when you get to maybe, I'm gonna say 500 characters, something like that, either in kanji or in Hanzi, usually you'll have enough stroke orders to, with enough practice, you have enough stroke orders to figure out what it is. Like, for example, I didn't write these characters before. Like, not all these characters I wrote before, but it's pretty clear that it's got to be 1, 2, 3, and then this is right 1, 2, 3, 4, and the number is where your stroke begins, 5 and 6, right? So you would write it this way, right? And at some point you'll delineate what the stroke order is. There's a comfortable way to write it, and there's a not a comfortable way to write it. Like, writing it this way is very uncomfortable. Like, instead of doing it this way. And then this, like, you could, this has a natural flow to it for English, so it would be like this. However, sometimes you would get something like this, and it would, a lot of times English would do this L and then do it this way, but it's this way. So you will end up over time, like this is 2, it goes this way and down in one stroke, and then this is 3 over here. That's how I remember. Well, technically you don't end up remembering the stroke order, you remember how to write it. Yeah. So, like, for example, you don't have to remember the stroke order, you know how to write it. Oops, sorry. So 1, 2, 3. So the idea is, over time, it's kind of like how you draw a circle. At some point, you're gonna start a circle somewhere. If someone asks you how you draw a circle, there's a chance you probably start up here and then go back around, and you start at this position. Even though every single position along the circle is equal for you, there will be a position that you end up starting all the time. And that's kind of how the writing thing worked. So I don't remember any stroke orders. I remember how it's supposed to be written. You see, you wrote yourself a script that shows the stroke order on the character page? Yeah, that's great. We were just wondering how I learned it. Didn't know Duolingo required you. Yeah, Duolingo required you to do that. Let me know how that turned out, mister. Let me know seeing the stroke order if it helps. So, I didn't use stroke order diagrams, but I always wondered if that works. So let me know over like the next couple months how that turns out for you. I know that I use pitch accent though. So I do use pitch accent, and because of pinging, right? Pinging is pitch accent to me. So since I read this so much, I can even write English with pitch accent, with tones and whatnot, and that worked. So I should think that when you have numbers, it should work too, like over time, as long as you're actively imagining it happen, right? So like when you're looking at this, you're like, oh, this is my new radical. It's 1, 2, 3, right? That's where the stroke order would be shown. 1, 2, 3, because you're writing from the start. You're always numbering from the start. I'm only showing this going backwards. So I've done the stroke order through practice, and then now I can number them going backwards. I haven't ever like decided to go forwards. There also, by the way, if you're curious, there's also fundamentals. Stroke order has a fundamental, and you can, if you're like really structured and you like that type of thing, there's quite a lot of people who summarize the grid system. So like the quadrants. When you have a character, so those are the quadrants, and there are specific rules to the quadrants where they show. So like quadrant 1 is always first, and it always goes in a certain direction. So that's why quadrant 1 is like this. So there are very specific rules to where the quadrants are that you might find interesting on how like you decide where the direction is, like which direction it's going. Like why is this character going from right to left, for example? Like why did this go this way as opposed to like this way, right? Going this way. There are rules for stroke order, like generalized rules, like grammar rules, so to speak, like a pattern of stroke order that you might be interested in reading about. It can help with people who like to look at things systematically. Kind of like learning grammar in order to help you with sentences. Obviously, you can look at sentences and learn the grammar from the sentences, or if you're a systematic person, you can go the other way around. And then being able to do it forward and backwards is kind of the goal. So, and it's not that long. The stroke order, the stroke pattern rules are a few, like they're less than 10. There's less than 10 generalized rules for writing. Then you can apply them over and over again. And when you apply them over and over again, you'll be able to see the exceptions. So then you can focus on the exceptions and have fun with it, right? Whenever a character violates the exceptions. So this would violate some of the exceptions, right? So that's something to look forward to if you want. Sometimes when you learn all the stroke orders and then you look back and someone explains like, oh, hey, there's a pattern to it. It's like, oh, you might realize it over time. So if you see like numbers, if you constantly see numbers, I would say encouraging yourself to constantly think like, oh, it's always like, the reason why you know that the drops are always 1, 2, then the major thing is because this is in the first quadrant. So anything that stays in the first quadrant gets written first. Like if they're confined to a higher priority quadrant. And then this vertical expands to quadrant 1 and 2. So that's why it is written last, or it is written after the 1 and 2. Yeah. So it'd be really exciting to see if you see these patterns. I'll let you know how it'll go. You don't want to invest that much time into writing, to be honest. That's fair. So you just try to naturally pick up the pattern while having stroke order. You'll see how that will go. Yeah, for sure. One thing about HanziHero, since you're starting HanziHero, like I want to give you like the stroke order. If there's anything you can pay attention to that would like be a really fun exercise, is that when you visualize the characters, right? When I'm saying, for example, when I say Hang, right? I see it being drawn in my head. So like I see it do this without my hand. Like it's being drawn in my head. So when I look at a stroke order or when I look at a character, I see myself writing the character in my head. And that process can involve seeing the number as well. So there's going to be an interesting thing where you could simplify things. And when you look at a character, like to recognize this is Soul, you can always, one of the things you'll probably remember, the information you can remember is 1, 2, 3. Especially when it's going to differentiate between things. Like for example, this, one example would be if you're doing writing. If you're doing writing, you'll be able to differentiate between these two better. But now I'm curious if knowing the stroke order can can make you pay attention to how they're different. The reason why I practice stroke order and writing is because then I notice the difference between these two. But stroke order will not necessarily get you the difference. Sorry, I can't fit 4 into that little gap. These guys have the same stroke order. So the idea is writing doesn't really give you that much return on investment, even like naturally speaking. So the idea is I understand where you're coming from about the TBH and writing. It does apply somewhere when you're staring at it. So when you're looking, if you're interested in stroke order, it can get you to look more closely at the characters, which may play a role in the future. Like, for example, this character, this radical, is going to stay the same, right? This radical is going to stay the same. But if you don't look carefully, right, it can be paired with things like this. It can be paired with pretty much anything if it's available. So all of the bigger thing that you'll notice with your eyes would be taking up like 60% of your vision of this character, but everything else varies on its left side. So when you're looking at stroke order, if you always see numbers and stuff, you can differentiate them. All of these have different stroke orders. So instead of having to write it, if you see numbers arranged in a different way, you will be able to differentiate which one they are if you are able to connect them to the sides. Like this one can be paired with like other things too. And I'm writing like various things that it can be paired with. And that's where writing is supposed to serve a purpose. One of the major purposes of writing is when you go to write something, you'll remember that despite like this thing is one thing, the bottom is interchangeable. It could be this at the bottom as opposed to those 4 strokes. It could be this. So both of these can flip the bottom. And if you see stroke orders and numbers, it could help you with differentiating between them. It'll be interesting. I look forward to it, mister. How are you enjoying learning the system right now? So you said it's been a week. How are you liking the system? Or are you already over it? Alright. You think you have more problems with the tone association since you're American native? I see. And having stuff like O as bakery or an as pawn shop is tough to remember sometimes. Yeah, I get you. Because it takes one step away. So like you have to, it's double steps. So it has a few of them have a second step. So pawn shop, right? And you have to segregate into on. Yeah, I totally get you. All of these require 2 steps, and then the many others require 1 step. Like there will be like a temple, right? Temple requires an extra step into gong. Gong is then the temple requires 3 steps into ong, right? And then that you can see if you can find a clever way if you want to like replace them early on. Like if you choose to replace them early on, then it would become less of a thing. I actually ended up changing certain things going backwards. So like after a year, I understood that there are certain things that I prefer, and I actually retroactively changed them. It didn't take as long as one might think. For myself, that depends on how well you're good at editing habits, so habit changes. So in the future, you can decide you're like, if you're good with habit change, you'll change it later when you learn more, or some people prefer to change it right in the beginning. Like a pawn shop, instead of pawn shop, you could say it's a an like a antiquity store or something, like an antique store. From so antique. You could like antique as in like British as opposed to antique, right? You could choose and it would still keep to the theme. So an antique store and a pawn shop is very similar because sometimes they can be secondhand. So that would be not a big move from Kevin's thing, but then it would start with antique, right? So I didn't need to change these things, but you can always choose to try to come up with a replacement because Kevin uses a modular system. So this system is modular in the many ways it can. So you can easily remove something and replace it without having to change everything else. Dough, like for bakery. That's something close to bakery would be tougher. I haven't really this I came up on the spot, but this yeah, that one's tough. O is tough. But you get the point. I hope. Like temple on I don't have one right off the bat for that one either. You think you'll just replace them? Stuff like Napoleon being new is just wild to you since your native language has ni in it, yeah, e or e in it, yeah, that's fair. Since my native language, my mother tongue is Fujianese, it already has ni in it, so I think of it as fish, but I still kept with Napoleon. Like it didn't really matter to me. However, the e sound is always like close to fish, so you could just replace it with a fish, for example. Like maybe like, and it would be like it would take 2 steps because then I would call it Nemo. And that's where Kevin, if you think about how Kevin is doing it, when he thinks about like bakery, and then he thinks about dough, right? I'm doing the same thing. So if I had created a structure for Nü, this thing, Nü, I would think of it as Nü, the Fujianese Nü, or Nü. And I would think of a Nemo. So then I would call this Nemo because it has to be a character, a specific character. The reason why the character has to be specific is because then you can't mix it up with the rest of your mnemonic. So choosing a character that is distinct, as in you won't like a location like a bakery is distinct, so that when you go and learn the words and you're making up the mnemonics, which I do about 20% of the time, I rewrite the mnemonics when I feel like I could shape it a little bit. It doesn't interfere with bakery. So like anything else that your mnemonic contains must try not to like interfere with the actual word. So for example, if one of your locations is like ground, that's going to be kind of tough because one of your radicals is ground. So then every time ground comes up, you're not sure if the ground is part of the pinyin or it's part of the mnemonic. So the way Kevin did it was he ended up picking the parts that do not overlap with when you are reading the mnemonic for the meaning, and for the meaning specifically, because the mnemonic, oh, these are vocabulary words, but for the for the characters, you can see that for the majority, these words don't occur again. So all these box words, they don't occur in the rest of the text. So all your mnemonics, like the mnemonics that you build, are 80% something else. So all these words have to be keywords. They have to be words that you're not going to have And for the record, it's not foolproof, because with enough mnemonics, you're going to cover certain words. And for me, I had to do a little exception. Like one of the words was like daytime. And one of my radicals, there are multiple ones starting with this. So when the word means daytime and I had to write a mnemonic that deals with daytime, I have to make sure that I distinguish it from having the radical day in the character. So eventually you'll have those things that you get to mess around with. And I think that's good. Like if you're already in the if you're already encouraging yourself, like, I want to change this, I want to replace this and that works. I think that keeps someone active far more than trying to like not think about it. And then if you choose to replace it, that's perfectly fine. I actually ended up doing both. So Napoleon, for example, Napoleon is both fish and Napoleon. And I ended up using both in all cases, or more, since you can get used to it. So then if you forget fish, then I can still remember Napoleon. That does take extra time, and it might not be worth for someone who's trying to remember less. You really like it so far? Writing the pinyin is as bad as you thought? Yeah. Do you like the numbers? Do you like using the numbers? I think using the numbers turned out to be far... it allows you to put an order to things. So you're always like, and hear me out. I know you said associating like the pinyin and stuff, but like at least the tones are always in the order. So you're always like... When you end up putting in order to everything, you know, like this is neutral. When you put a order to everything, it actually ends up working out really well. To the point where like these things become really interconnected. Yeah, and I don't know when you're gonna encounter this, but in the future, whenever someone's like, oh yeah, this Master Chief and House you really don't get. Oh yeah, no, that takes a while. Like heckin' House. Oh my goodness, House and Master Chief. Yeah. No, so no initial. Master Chief is no initial. And then House is no final. And then House has a pivot. There's a pivot in House. So like for example, Yoshi in the House is Yi or Yi. It defaults to E when it's in a house. And for example, like House Wu can be seen as defaulting to Wu. So that stuff I'm gonna be curious how you figure it, like how you're gonna do it. I don't think it has a specific way to do it. So getting creative in how you're going to decide how to do this is going to be a thing, because the very first thing you're going to think about is, wait, I thought this was Yoshi in the beach house, because beach house is this with an optional E, right? So you could argue that Yoshi in the beach house instead of Yoshi in the house, where the E is dropped by concatenating it. That's gonna be an interesting thought. And then Wu could be Walter. Walter, it could be like bakery, because there's an optional O in front where you can concatenate it to Walter in. So I had to negotiate this stuff, which now is no longer. You think you still don't understand 100% understand what no initial or no final means to BH? Oh, okay. I'm trying to think if there's a in pinging. This is what I think, but I don't think it just happens to work out that way. In pinging, there's always a final and an initial. And oftentimes what constitutes as a final and an initial is I wrote it backwards. So to me, let's see if this works out. I don't know if this actually works out all the time. An initial requires that it has a consonant with an optional with an optional vowel, and a final requires a vowel. So E is an initial, but there's no additional vowel. There's missing a vowel. But then there is something like right? So maybe it's more like the requirement of an element that is segregated based on consonants and vowels. So for example, a pinyin must have 2 elements, and the elements have to have a combination of either a consonant, vowel, like it has to have 2 clusters of consonant and vowels. So yi is a consonant and vowel, so it's one thing. When you add a u to it, then it becomes 2 things. So it's never paired. It always has to be paired up to minimally have a vowel in the end. And so it's about minimums. So minimums, you need another vowel for it to have 2 things. That's kind of how I look at it, but I don't know how other people look at it. So yi doesn't have a final because there's no vowel there. And I don't think that anything violates that. Like if you say wu, it's separated this way. I don't know. Honestly, I don't really know. It's complicated. Does it matter? Like, does it greatly affect? I'll have to get back to you on that. I've never really thought about explaining initial or finals. I'm trying to think of it now. You really feel like you're lacking some info on that? Yeah. Does it like, my thought is, does it matter in the end for your reading task? I'm not entirely sure. I have to get back to you on that. And remembering it just for the sake of it never worked for you, TBH. Oh, that's fair. So I you know, it's probably something not to worry about, because like when you're reading this, you know exactly where it ends. Your brain is like, do I really need to learn this? Yeah, like if you see this, right, just for the phrase, for instance, because of the way the tone works, it's always seen as one thing anyways. like in the long run, despite it having finals and like initials and finals, when you end up getting used to seeing the like pinging, it gets clumped into one thing in the long run. So I would say probably not as pertinent as you might think. So like this is always Huang, regardless if it has finals or initials. Like if it has both an initial or final, it's one thing. It's Huang Rang, right? Huang Da Wu. Let me know if that ever changes for you. I don't think I ever came up with like, oh, this has a final or initial in a like a patterned way. I just tried now and it doesn't seem like it's coming to me.
恍然大悟，
恍然大悟。You think you will just picked up that naturally and ignore Master Chief or House? That's fair. Fair enough. Master Chief comes up very rarely, much rarely. The House is gonna come up a lot. Yeah, the House is pretty common because the nice thing is they're common with specific words. So, sure. Sure. So, sure. E. All versions of this is going to be house. Sure. Sure. So, every single one of these are going to be house. And these are the most common ones. So these sounds, anything ending with it, like, sure, e, t, like t, all of these things are arguably the most common. And then not having an initial is uncommon. Like, like, all of these are kind of uncommon. So these ones ended up for me being tougher. Personally, they ended up being tougher personally because of how infrequent they are. This house stuff, everything's in the house. When you're like, I don't know where this is happening, it's house. It's a house. So this, I would, if I had to like make a funny gesture about the future, house is definitely not going to be a problem. But this, yeah, I don't know. It's okay. Master Chief is, I think your first one is going to be R, which is son, involving son or child. No initial. Yeah, some fun stuff. I can't wait to compare more notes with you.
机舱，
I look forward to more banters in the future.
花瓣，
That's a flower petal, not a flower stem.
恍然大悟，
It's nice having Hanzi back compared to. It's nice having Hanzi back compared to Korean. Explain. Give me more details. I need more for that one. Mandarin is Chinese characters only. Korean is hiragana all the way, and then Japanese is a mix of both, right? Yeah, because of their writing system, the modern writing system. They do have Hangwu, or is it Hanzhu? Hangwu, where like they used to have Chinese characters involved, but yeah, all of theirs is phonetic because of the modern Korean. I can't. I'm looking forward to maybe dabbling in the phonetic Korean. Yeah, they rarely use it now. Yeah, traditional, the traditional Korean, or I guess now it's more like archaic Korean. Yeah, the modern system is interesting. So, Americans or like English natives, if they didn't start with like Hanzi or like the Hanzi system, the Chinese script, they take to Korean pretty well because of its kana based structure, as opposed to like Japanese's hybrid thing. Trying to remember all the words in hiragana, yeah, Hangul is tough since it's a lot. Yeah, a lot is written with sound, written or sounds the same. Yeah, English. It's kind of humorous you say that because English is like mean in that way. Like for example, this is not mien, this is not mayin, this is mean. Like English demonstrates why when you try to attach written and sounds together to their proper, their normal writing system, it's like, wait a minute, wait. That kind of thing, right? Like so then it's like, okay, well, this and this is the same, but this and this is not, like, maybe the same, you don't know. So all of this stuff happens in English quite a bit. So whenever someone like says in Korean, it's like, oh, it feels comfortable. Like the phonetic system feels comfortable. And that's kind of what I love about, like, in my opinion, what's funny and what I embrace about humans. Some things that are difficult and be easy because of comfort. And whenever someone's just like, oh yeah, Korean do this and this, and my first thought is, I'm reading these characters and they don't go anywhere. Like, it's not like I'm asking myself, wait, is this okay, I understand this is Huang, but is it Huang? Is it Huang? Is it Huang? No matter what, most of the time it's going to be Huang. I'm not asking myself, like, and I still do this in English. I mean, my English proficiency is fairly high, but when today, what did I write? Protuberance. On Wanikani. And the problem with this word is I don't know if this is A or B. I've never seen this word before, right? The idea is if you're learning a language, you're using its script to be able to read the word. But when I'm remembering protuberance, I'm like, is that an A or an E? Is this an A or an E? And is this protuberance, as in there's an R in it, but it doesn't have an R here? Because this is related to the word protrude. Or protrude? Like, I don't know where it is. So then you ended up memorizing this. Like that's the kind of how English just feels. Like English is like, you just memorize it. And that kind of sucks. Meanwhile, you're like doing this, it's like, oh, a mnemonic system that's modular works very well. Right? Try making a mnemonic system a mnemonic system that works modularly with English. I'm like, okay, well, all right, seam, neat. We'll make a mnemonic system for it. And then you write seam. And you're like, well, okay, I guess we'll write 2 sets of mnemonic systems for the 2 exceptions, right? And then we have things like, okay, so what happens when you put like this? Serene. Like WTF English, right? Because then you're like, all right, so do I use the same mnemonic system for all 3 of these and then find an exception to them? Like, because this is pronounced serene. So reen, een, they're all eens. All 3 of these are eens. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just, and that's what I think of Korean's writing system. And that's kind of how I feel when you're only reading kana in Japanese. When you're trying to read Japanese only in kana, or like only in, even if you type romaji, is even worse. Like when you type romaji like this, like katakana, my first thought is, you would think it means katakana, as in like the writing thing. But if you know Japanese, you don't know what that means yet. Like you're not quite sure what that means yet. The thing about tones, when you start adding a tone, which could help, like pitch accent, the thing is Japanese pitch accent is incredibly consistent. It doesn't like ebb and flow. So you could write something like, this is rising, this is flat, this is lower, and then this is flat. So then it could help you define like which characters they might be. And I'm choosing this specific word for a strong reason, because in Japanese there's a chance. No, there's not a chance. This is probably written in kanji. I just got katakana today. And that's so, I think languages are pretty funny in that way. Anyways, I'm glad you're enjoying the characters, the Hanzi. I'm looking for it. If you assume Jungo, if you have dialects, it is sometimes very different. Oh yeah, I can imagine. This, for instance, when you think of dialectic things as well, all of these also can vary too. The nice thing is these characters will never vary. You know what I mean? Like, despite the lovely thing about these characters is they're going to be these characters. There are a few exceptions. Obviously, there is like a 5% exception when like some things can be written slightly different, and when I don't, do I have an example here? Can be written slightly different. Like, for example, there is penmanship differences like this versus like straight down. But other than that, these characters stay these characters. They don't become like a different combination, right? Like they don't change. The characters themselves do not change. They stay, and that's kind of an interesting thought. One of the benefits of a compressed script. It's a different world, but you write English already, so it is pretty comical how well people still are able to write English despite everything is there. Like nowadays it's a terror, right? Like when you go online and you're like talking to a Gen Z or a Gen Alpha, right? And you're like BTW, you what I don't know. I'm making up stuff. You what, mate? I'm like, okay. NGL NGL fire? How do kids spell fire these days? That's what low-key fire, like, that's, you know, like, oh yeah, low-key, however you spell fire. Maybe it's an emote, right? Maybe it's a fire emote. That's phonetic. Like, English is phonetic, right? It's supposed to be phonetic. So what happens is then you can do things like this. If you decide to shorthand this and say, oh yeah, you know, I'm just gonna write it like this. Like, what the heck is that? Like, what I mean is these characters have less tolerance. They have less tolerance for you to, like, willy-nilly do things. So instead of having, like, fire spelled like this, or like this, I'm capitalizing for emphasis. So fire, right? Fire. All of these things then go away because you can't substitute characters. So you kind of have to put in quote-unquote effort, and then your effort comes back out in that way. They're more stringent, and then you'll have less of these things where you're like trying to sound things out, so to speak, with the language, with the writing. So you're sitting there less saying, like, how do you spell receive? And then how do you spell believe? And how do you spell reprieve? Right? I actually don't know if this is how you spell reprieve. I'm guessing that's how you spell reprieve. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. All right, there we go. Anyways, good talk, good talk. Oh, suddenly. Oh, suddenly realized. Whoops. I forgot to write the rest. This work.
获利
What is vigor power? Like, really excited. Like, lots of enthusiasm. What's another way to say lots of enthusiasm? Maybe we could get away with enthusiasm? No. Boldness. Boldness. Okay. That's fair. If there were a script to make something easier in HanziHero, what would it be? A script to make HanziHero easier? That's an interesting question. You already found one. The stroke order thing seems like it's gonna be an interesting experiment. They covered that. Let me think. Something that isn't available would be... So they covered sounds, right? They covered sounds. So they have a script that clusters sounds. They have a script that cluster appearances. I'm thinking of it more from like a thinking perspective. So when you're doing Mind Palace, when you have a Mind Palace, what are scripts that you would have? So they do cluster based on sound. They do cluster based on visuals. There is a lack of clustering based on synonyms. Oh no, not based on synonyms. Based on antonyms. They do have a cluster for synonyms. So these are like upper level, like above native clustering for like mind webbing situations. They bypass antonyms. So like things that are big or things that are small, right? Like having different fonts or being able to rewrite something instead of having to hit Control Z. I see. Oh, do you hit Control Z? Oh, okay. I hit backspace. Oh no, I do hit Control Z. You're right. I hit Control Z all the time. I was thinking if you're asking me for scripts that would make HanziHero easier, like what I was thinking you were asking to make the learning part easier. In terms of like functionality, I think I'm okay. Let me know if you end up coming up with like a script that makes your mechanical things, like if you ever find where you can cut mechanically, like auto submitting maybe is a thing that people talk about a lot. Like whenever you trigger the right thing, it just auto submits. Usually anything that speeds up mechanical use, I don't tend to think about those things. I usually think about the learning aspect, because the mechanical thing, going faster can make you learn less, or you can pay less attention when things are more automated mechanically. However, I do know that they don't have antonym associations, and I don't know how you would script that. Outside of like farming, like needing a database that shows antonym relationships and then taking that database and overlaying it onto whenever something comes up. For example, like this is hua ban, right? Hua ban. So you might not have an antonym for flower petals, but you could have a synonym group for tree leaves. This is what webbing is. By the way, this also exists for Japanese. There is a complex web. I forgot what it's called already. Someone made a web interface, like a relational web interface for Japanese for their characters, and like based on sound and stuff. This would be like hua ban would be more like shu ye. And then you can combine shu ye to know what it looks like with shu ye is tree leaves. And then you see that I wrote it in pinyin instead of the characters. But if you can equate equivalents to them, it will make reading and like learning a lot easier. But this would be a high order script. A high order script requires like a database that already do this, and you would if you don't have a database that already do this like analog style, you have to create a internal logic that pairs instances of words together. And then now we're talking about like your modern day AI model, right? But you could get the modern AI model to output a sheet that deals with contextual distances from each other. Then you can learn that tree leaves are like flower petals. To me, that's how I learn contextually in the future. So when you like talk about how do people learn how to talk in paragraphs and in sentences and build stories. They have to contextualize them eventually. So if you're ever like wondering how are you going to bridge your vocabulary and your Hanzi into sentences, you have to associate them by structure. So there's no structure yet. So this does not have a pattern of use, which what Wanikani does is they tell you pattern of use. They include the pattern of use. Basically, common phrases or common things are attached to it. So at some point, you have to build phrases. And you can do it elsewhere, obviously. Like, you don't have to do it in HanziHero. The idea is you're going to take your vocabulary and your Hanzi understanding, and you're going to take it to a place where you're going to develop sentences. So you don't necessarily have to build a script for HanziHero. Another tool can help you bridge that. Like a graded reader will help you bridge that. Like for me, the reason why I only said 树叶 is because I'm stuck with listening. The bridge I'm talking about between flower petals and tree leaves for me right now is auditory. Most of the stuff that I have connected to sentences and speaking languages is auditory. So it's not connected visually. So it's very difficult for me to bring up 树叶 in Hanzi. I can see it. If I see 树叶, I would know it's tree leaves, but I can't produce it. So it can make HanziHero a little bit easier in the future if that's the case. And what does this solve? If you're wondering, okay, so what's the point of this? Scaling. Scaling is what happens when you have Mind Palace. For example, the reason why this works is if you know 树叶, like the thing that I'm imagining in my head, then you know this too. So in the future, the more your vocabulary grows, the less and less you have to remember. Like it feels like you're remembering less because everything is concatenating together. So if you can express one, you'll be able to express the other. So that's kind of how you would form sentences when you're saying, oh, I was at the movie theater. But you could have said, I was at the theater. I was watching movies. I saw a movie. All of them are clustered. Saw, watch, movie, theater, film. All of those, and then seeing and watching are clustered together with them. So that's what produces Mind Palace. All of your things are so associated together that you're not necessarily having to remember what a movie theater is. You know what a movie is, you know what a theater is. Then you can put them together to create movie theater. That's not something that's in HanziHero at the moment. They don't necessarily, they give you example sentences. That's the closest thing. So that's a nice thing to have. Like for example, I'll give you this card, right? So the thing you have now is, oh, it's a little cut off, but like the first one, 你可以吃这些花瓣. So you could eat this flower petal, and flower petals are edible, right? It like rose petals, for example. 梅花瓣would be rose flower petals, like maybe like 梅花的花瓣, right? I said rose with a ban, with a 花瓣. Oh no. Like, yeah, I said rose petals, or like the rose 花, 梅花 would be rose plus flower. So you need flower next to rose to create rose, the noun. And then you add the to modify its possession of 花瓣. So that's where grammar comes in, right? But you don't necessarily need grammar in Chinese per se because they're kind of confined to their words anyways. So you kind of know that if you know the character for rose, which is ascribed to Mei, It's something like it's probably something like this. No, it's yeah, so this is May or Rose, but you're only learning the character. It needs a functional identifier. So you need Hua, probably. So then it's Mei Hua, and that's Rose. And then you know that these two are associated, but HanziHero doesn't do this. The way it does it is when you look up Mei, it's the vocabulary word, right? So if you look up Mei, here's Mei. The vocabulary word has Mei Gui, so they used Gui instead of Hua. So that's a part that you'll have to come to understand at some point. Whether like what type of modifiers. For me, I made a mental like over time I made a mental cue for myself. Like for example, Ren. Ren is not just used for a person. It's associated by feelings. So you type a feeling in. If you have a feeling character, Ren follows it because it's a feeling that human experiences. So when you have like annoying, for example, annoying would be the character for annoying plus Ren, or frustration, regret, resent. Yeah, so that's one of the other things that will become apparent later, which you're gonna intuit over time, or you notice these patterns, and that's how I get away with additional things. So Chinese has their words have built-in grammar, and eventually you'll notice them. It does make it easier if it just explains that earlier if you want, but or remind you. That's another way to remember what it is. But I think that's well into the future at some point. That's the most like interesting observation that I've made with, at least to me, that I made with something that HanziHero doesn't point out, but it's come through a lot. Like this too. Like this is a great example. Power. Li. Li is associated. Oh, and you already saw Fa. Fa is Fa is the act of carrying out something or to give off something. It's going to be introduced as send out. But whenever you have to do something, like if you're trembling, for example, if you're trembling, it's carrying out the trembling. So Fa would be attached to an action, a lot of actions. So if something is like radiating or being sent out or being expressed or being coming into being, Fa would be associated with actions. And there are various collections of carrying out. So if it's not Fa, it's another like character. And this could be considered as Chinese grammar. So when I'm trying to illustrate, when I tell people like, oh, the vocabulary, right? The vocabulary kind of tells you the grammar already in Chinese, because Chinese is written with built-in grammar. This is what I mean. Where like, if you read the characters, you'll see the patterns built in, right? And it'll be so regular that you might not need anything to make it easier. But generally speaking, these things do exist. So whenever you're trying to make up words, like if you ever have fun making up words, this is kind of like, for example, this right here is going to be vigor. anything that requires power and intensity, or like things that deal with releasing energy, is going to be coupled with li, which is power. So if it's not vigor, it's strength. Force. Willpower. Labor. All of them are going to be coupled with power, because power modifies this strength, and so on. I think it's such a really fun, elegant thing. So to illustrate how I learn a lot of times, right? When I get a new character, like say Lee is introduced, I'm like, huh, I wonder if Lee pairs with Po. So it's either going to be Po Lee or Lee Po, but Lee always comes second most of the time. So it might be Po Lee. And then you look at the example and you see it's there. So over time, when you learn more vocabulary words and you learn more characters, you don't really have to even look at the examples. You're kind of expecting them to be there at some point. So your characters then form your vocabulary as well. It creates a bridge. Now, can you script some, like, is it helpful to script something like that to aid in someone's pattern recognition? Not really. If you're observing these things and you're actively participating in them, you're probably going to end up naturally acquiring them, which is what you said a couple of times. You're probably going to naturally notice these. And it's that clicking moment. Like when you click at different levels, it feels like that most of the time. Like when I'm doing lessons, my vocab lessons, I'm like, oh yeah, well, that makes sense. Yep, that makes sense. And then occasionally, in like 20% of the time, I'm like, whoa, okay, that's a little weird. So then I spend most of my time focused on the little weird stuff. So then I don't have to spend a lot of energy thinking like, oh, I have to memorize this. It's like, well, that makes sense. This phrase makes sense. That's how Chinese works. And I don't know if I've gotten that way with Japanese. Occasionally Japanese like checks out, but there's so much about kana, like the kana side of things, that we were just recently joking about Korean and English. Yeah, that kana side of thing takes center stage anyways. So regardless if you were focusing on other things, it doesn't happen as often. Chinese, it happens a lot. Like da, this is another association. Da intensifies the thing that's following it. So when you're saying this is a like rang da. It's a sudden. It's a degree of realizing things. So that's why you have rang and then da wu. And wu is suffixal. Like it often gets tacked on to things that deal with realization. So you could have something like ming, probably, where it's bright. So if you have bright, and I'm not saying these are actual words, but the idea is you're understanding how characters relate to each other. So if you add ming to wu, it could be realized. It could be the essence of realized, because this is bright and this is realized. So when something you realize, it becomes brightened. The thing is more clear now. This could end up being clarify as opposed to realize. And that happens a lot. Rang is so, as in cause or effect. Sorry, it's effect. So anything that deals with something that happens and needs an effect, it becomes a li effectively. So like this is Sutton. This is Sutton Lee. So Rang, which is one of your earliest ones. Rang is like the very beginning. I think it might be HHK 1 or 2. Rang will be added to the end of something that is happening, because then it is that's what it happens. So Rang, so the reason why this phrase exists is because you have different components that are associated with each other. And those things give you like shortcuts. It becomes very immediate after a while. Like, oh, you can probably attach run to this. Oh, you can probably attach da to this. But you probably can't attach the other large or the other small to something. Really interesting. And that can possibly help with sounds, because then sounds will then lead to particular sound combinations that you will hear over and over again. Kind of extra layers, more information. Oops. So something vigorously with strength. Again, it's not enthusiasm that I'm looking for. Boldness. Yeah, like this stuff, you can think of boldness as enthusiastic. So eventually it will connect with your English too. Like in my opinion, you want to connect with your English, not like use English as a placeholder. So like I was thinking here, I'm like, okay, well, enthusiasm, what else can you say about something that's enthusiastic? Like what's more than being vigorous, being bold or courageous, or daring? All of these words are still within your English lexicon. So you start feeling the characters. The characters have feelings. Like, oh well, I can't put my word to it, but I know what it means. Like that's kind of like the idea of contextual language, right? Like, oh well, I get the point, despite not having the English word for it, perhaps. And I think that's when you know, when people say, oh, it starts to make sense now, or like it feels like things just happen, that's kind of where it feels genuinely really rewarding. You start looking at your lessons and you're like, you're learning like you're learning in English. Like for example, 钩子 sounds like hook. So like I'm learning these vocabulary for the first time, but I'm not actually learning them for the first time. 钩子 would be, that's one of the things that I would expect when I learned go. That's the new character. I would expect that 字 ends up pairing with it because it's an item. So 钩子. But then you might be thinking, how do I know that it's not 字 and it's 头? Because 头, a hook, has a head. But a hook is also small. Now, if you had an axe, right? If you had an axe and you wanted to say it's an axe, you would pair it up with 头, because axe, one of the big objects in an axe is its head. So an axe head equals axe. So when you have things that are like, but then you think, okay, well then how do you know about arrows? Well, arrows, you don't need to know the character for arrows at the moment, but it uses 头 as an arrow head. But it doesn't refer to the arrow itself. Those things sound confusing right now, but somehow over time you're like, yeah, that makes sense. You would add 头, but you don't really need it, but you also, it's fine if it's there. I think what it illustrates is this helps you know what you're thinking about here. So it's kind of redundant in a way. You could cut, if you cut this out, I'm not entirely sure if it would dramatically affect how you interpret this character. But Chinese has a wonderful redundancy built in my opinion. So learning vocabulary feels a lot less, I guess, maybe a little bit less strenuous than Japanese. Because there's the whole effect of kana in it. Anyways.
钩子，谎言，
谎言. So, like, this is also, again, like, if you're wondering, this happens again. This is anything that deals with saying or language or a word or something that deals with something spoken or given off, like written, right? So when you're thinking about a lie, you would pair it up with either yu for language or say. So now when you have a lie, this is the new character that you're learning that I got recently, Huang, which is to lie. But lies are composed of words or saying or speaking. So you can probably put language in here too. It's these two, language and words, are paired together. So whenever you have something that deals with the act of speaking or words, you'll expect either this or what you think is yi. This one. The principal carrying thing is here. So just like the last one with Wu, very similar. Like Wu changes out these two. You get like I'm not sure if Japanese holds on to that too much, but Chinese does. I'm still looking in Japanese to find these things.
谎言，奢望，
奢望.奢望. Now there are other things. There are double words too, where like two of the characters, they mean the same thing and they double on each other. And the reason why they double on each other is when they're separated, it can differentiate them from the action and the noun. So oftentimes, like for example, if hope is next, or like this is to expect, but it becomes hope because you're looking at something good. This is extravagant. Extravagant is positive. So then this becomes hope. If you're expecting something and say it's like sad plus hope, it could end up it could be despair. So like if you're sad and you're expecting to be sad, it could be despair. In positive and negative words also shift based positive and negative based on their existing sides. All of this stuff becomes intuitive at some point. At least I think. Like with reading, I'm not sure about speaking. Like when someone's speaking, I'm not entirely sure because I haven't done a lot of speaking with people. Yeah, see, high hopes, positive spin. Sure. Yep. Have again.
奢望，蹭，
It's really it helps a lot when you're interested in this way, at least in my opinion. Right. Good talk. Thanks for stopping by, mister. It's always I always look forward to our next giving me like I can't wait to hear what another week or another month will do. Yeah, good luck with your reviews. I hope you get excited. Like what I mean is the reason to talk about these things is to get excited, right? Like now you have certain things to look for. Maybe you want to counter argue me. Like for example, if we have a disagreement, you should go and look for the disagreements. The more you're involved in your reviews and whatnot, it becomes effortless because you're looking for things and you're paying attention to things. So if you disagree with me, find where you can disagree with me, because when you disagree with me, you're also paying attention to something. And then I would learn something from it and then we build something. So yeah, good luck, good luck. It's great to have someone to talk to every now and then about what they're thinking about. Come back with more notes. Like I would love to hear your notes. Good luck, good luck. Tongue. This looks like tongue. Tongue. Tongue is the closest thing. Yeah, tongue. Yeah, until next time, mister. Until next time. So we're using tongue as the basis for this. Tongue. Casper is in the bathroom of the English Manor, where he has blurry vision, so he keeps rubbing his eyes. Okay. An imp skips across the marble floor and offers a wooden leg that, if rubbed, will clear. Okay. That's a little rough. Let's go do. So Casper is in the bathroom of the English Manor, where he encounters the rich kid's service imp. I'm thinking Harry Potter right now, but it's fine. Casper. Service imp. He noticed that the imp is rubbing his legs and having problems moving from the tired work. He tries to offer the imp a wooden leg as a form of walking stick. Good old Casper. Okay. Rubbing. Gua tongue. Makes sense. Gua tongue. Scraped from the rubbing. Scrape. Just scrape.
蹭
Tongue.
锤
Tray? Yeah, that looks like Tray. The right hand, Willow. The thump. Interesting. Droop. This is Droop right here. And it's Tray. So Chucky is inside the beach house by the bay, training his killing skills. In front of him is a large willow, and he thumps it with his fingers, trying to take it down by thumping it a little. Okay, he does so while wearing some sunshades and bathing suit. The thumping sound echoes. All right, yeah, that's good. I'm okay with that. Or pounding. Oh, that makes sense. Da, Trey da, and what else got? Trey Bay. Oh, the thump back. The thump the back. Literally on the back. Gotcha.
锤
Alright.
钩子谎言锤蹭
Ugh.
奢望
Okay. Next one.
科
K. Do I see a K? The closest knock that I know is Qiao. It could be Qiao Ke or Ke Qiao. I don't know if Ke screams to me though on the right. This is gonna be used for past, and there's no Ke for past. No. I think we're stuck with this. There could be a chance Dish can combine Ke somehow. No, it doesn't. Okay. None of these carry sound. Kermit the Frog. Knock here is in the sense of knock into or knock out. Oh, so not in the form of knocking. Interesting. So it wouldn't go with total. Yeah, to knock out someone. So like to take someone out. Or like knock something into another thing. Like as opposed to knocking. So that makes sense that it would have head to knock out someone. So to koto. To koto. Yeah. This is to like KO someone. Right. Oh no! It's Sukoto as in like... Interesting. Oh, it's Kalto, it's to like hit your head on the ground to show respect, like the like in a pleading sense. Interesting. So this is the formal character for when you present yourself to someone high and then you're bowing your head and you're hitting your head onto the ground to show like respect and whatnot. Oh, okay. Wow, that's very specific. Yeah, so you're knocking your head into the ground. Kermit the Frog is in front of the electricity plant, not looking where he's going. He accidentally knocks into a large stack of dishes that are on the concrete with his elbow. The knocked into dishes fall over into the soil. The electricity guards run out and start throwing stones at Kermit for knocking into the dishes. We're gonna just reverse it and say like Kermit is helping. Okay. I think we're gonna do like Kermit is in front of the electricity plants. Helping out, right? Helping out. He is making sure that the energy dishes set up for the power plant are properly set up by nudging it, right? Nudging it with his elbow just in case, so that none of the dishes will fall over into the soil and stones. And also making sure no stones and soil are on the dishes, right? The knock, that's interesting. I didn't realize you can write that in English. Kowtow? Koto? Koto? I don't know how you pronounce that in English. It could be kowtow or koto. Or it could be like kowtow or kotao. We got ke.
科华
Hua? Clamor. There is a hua in here. The right is hua. Or like Chinese. But okay. It's to clamor. Hua. I think we can get away with using hua. Yeah, for China. Oh, double clamor though. We're gonna make it about China. Might as well. So say Hulk. Hulk is inside the auditorium. Where he is... Oh, and his auditorium where he is hired to clamor about the word on the street about how cool the play is, about the Chinese play is about the part of China that he helped rescue during his superhero days, I suppose. I don't know, something like that. We gotta throw in Hua somehow. Hua Ran, yep. Uproar, makes sense. Hua Bian, to change into clamor. Or is that? Yeah, interesting. The mutiny. I can kind of see it. I didn't realize Bian can be negative.
华罗
I feel like Bian was more like neutral. Luo? Gauze. Look like a Luo? Oh, I don't think so. Have anything that would give me Luo? Maybe it's a combination of... Turkey is hard to replace. And Turkey's terrifying. Oh, there is a law. Yeah, to patrol. Okay. Patrol, huh? Luke Skywalker is inside the lobby of the office building trying to catch a turkey that is running around. Right, same deal. Same mnemonic. Failing to catch it with a net, he instead makes an extremely thin silk gauze and hangs it over one of the pathways. Sure enough, the turkey gets tangled up in it and is captured. When trying to remove the turkey from the net of the gauze, Luke is pecked and he applies some gauze over his... Okay. It's a loose thing, but yeah, Luke is kind of an engineer, you know? Resourceful. And it's not resourceful in the same way that Jimmy Neutron is. So we'll keep that going. Luo Pan Compass. Excuse me? Inescapable net. Tianluo Diwa. Heaven, gauze, earth, and net. I'm not getting the essence of gauze in either of these, honestly. I feel like it's more... Heaven's net. See, this says gauze and tray. Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. This one needs some help. At some point. But we'll go with gauze for now. Yeah. It lines up with Yu. Yu for pleased or delighted, right? Off the armory. Yeah, pleased. Now with the heart. For more, Yugi is in the bathroom of the house where there's an armory in the corner full of hearts. Yugi starts to take out the hearts and move them from the armory into the bathtub. However, the more... Okay. Not gonna help me out. So Yugi is in the bathroom of the house where he has recently... I don't know. Returned from the armory with more equipment. He is working up more willpower. I don't know. He stands in front of the bathroom mirror and working up more willpower to confront, I don't know, the concerns of his heart. He is trying to place more heart into his pursuit of protecting people. I guess. I don't. That's kind of a. Oh, 越来越. Oh. Instead of like 越来越. Interesting. 越演越累. Oh. More performance, more tired to intensify? Oh no, a different lay. More performance, more vigorous to intensify. Ah, okay. Perform more with more intensity. Intensify. Got.
玉
Oh, whoops. More.
叫
Jiao. Sedan chair. Wait, what the heck's a sedan chair? Like a car sedan? Wait. What the heck is a sedan chair? A sedan. That mean the same thing? Oh, historically, it's an enclosed chair for conveying one person. Conveying one person carried between horizontal poles. Oh, those sedans. Oh, okay. Oh, I can kind of see why then cars are sedans. I see. Jimmy Neutron. Oh wait, is there a Jiao in this? There is a Jiao. I think. But not in the same way. It's the tower. Jiao or proud. Yes. But the other one's Qiao. Jimmy Neutron is in the bathroom of the barn washing his hands. Okay. Next, he claps his hands and his car arrives through the door. It is a sedan chair that is carried by 2 cows which can walk on their hind legs. The sedan, 2 robotic cows. The sedan chair looks like a miniature high-tech tower. Jimmy gets in and claps his hands and his sedan chair is carried. Alright, we're just gonna go with it. High-tech equipment. 轿车 and 轿子. Yeah.
叫
Okay. Alright. Here we go. Oh, I do need to cover the characters before the day is over. It's 8 a.m. Dang it. Darn you! Wait. Did I come up with anything for this? Oh, yeah, I did. Oh, because it uses elbow instead of pass. Oh, no. Do I have to worry about that?
喝
We'll see. We'll see.
裸 叫 玉 滑
Okay. So here's the thing. I do need to do the... Oh no, it doubled down on the characters too. I mean, for the review, I forgot about that. Okay. We do want to cover the characters, but we're just gonna do it. We gotta rip it. So let's go and do this here.
吃
What's up with all these... What's up with all these components? The heck? Oh no. All right, now we got to the characters, right? Hopefully not too many, maybe.
凡凤毛马
What?
晃 墨
This is probably silence. Okay. All right. Wait, what does the spray have to do? Oh no. Do we just YOLO it?
绿
Oh boy. Oh no, that's fine.
意 柳武尖
I want to say it's oh no, it's not. Huh.
蓝
Yo, what? Hmm. Hmm. I don't know what that is at the moment.
结
Aura and I think that's member. It's gotta be. Oh no, it's not. It's not member. It's the moon thing. That requires help. I have to redefine that one. Paste is not good. Okay.
斩
Okay. And what happened here? Why does it not feel like it's anything? Must be. Oh, could it be like
是
okay.
炸
What the? Oh. Yeah, okay. That's gonna be a bit. We fixed the soul recently. We tried. Oh no. How do I not know what this is? Is it Hey, how? Uh. Yeah. Back to that.
Go.
What? Oh. Hmm.
连。缀。
Hmm.
Yi.
Joy is fine too. Joy. Joy. Joy is. What? Hmm.
意。
Okay. Some part of me wants to tie. Oh no. Oh no. No. What? Okay, that's definitely not what I think it is, so gotta think about that.
容。
Or melt. Melt.
份。
Oh no. Okay.
嗖。 高。
The heck? Oh. Oh, that's a misspelling. That's a typo. Uh.
歪。 专
Oh no. I gotta think about it.
名
Hmm. Really?
手 走
So what happened here? I thought it was... Oh, no, wait. Yeah, I thought it was... Oh no, it's not. Hmm. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I thought it's... Really thought it's... Oh, I fat fingered 5 instead of 4. Why do I think it's long?
狼
Oh. Hmm. What's going on there?
绑 甩 葱
Okay. So what's happening here? Oh.
和 鱼
煮
剩 欠
That's Xing. I think it's Xing. What happened here? What's going on here? It is Meng. Oh, I typed Meng, not Meng. That's my bad.
煮
What?
网
Okay. Oh no, it's not. Oh, it's Sheng? Did I type Sheng or did I type Shun? Shun. Hmm.
福
I'm gonna go on a limb and say
肯
no. What? What? Oh no.
顺 梦
This is like, what is it? Like the first days of the season. Or first months of the season. It's fine.
讲 剑、
Oh,
母、 圆、
really? I have no idea what that is. I think we're gonna have to change. We're gonna have to edit that one. White, scepter, stone. I don't know. Send help. Okay, hang on.
谎、
Oh, that's suddenly.
力、 序、
Uh. Hold up. It's not in disgrace? Okay. So, Rue, right? Yeah.
玉、 弦、
That's chirp.
闷、
How do I... Metal? Guinea pig. That's gotta be... Oh, no. I'm gonna pass on tin. Forget tin. Yeah, forget tin.
灾、
Not today. T.
入、 气、 颓、 炫、 苗、 发、 雨、 习、 会、 除、 像、 除、
That's a coincidence.
龙、 拓、 树、
And not the white jade stone or white stone on the scepter. Really? That not at the jade stone? Okay, okay. But it's a white scepter with the jade stone. Yes. What in the... I don't remember this? Okay. Uh-oh.
B.
Oh no. Oh, that's ta. That's...
他
Oh no. No.
盐
Or stone. It's fine.
侠
Oh no. Okay.
道 满 糖
Oh, I just went for it. Man.
永 会 舵
What? A rock?
Ming 景 永
YOLO? Okay, that didn't work. uh...
借
How do you, like... back off? How do you back off people? It's not that... It's not abstain! It's kind of like admonish. Okay. It's fine. Same difference. Or, like, I was intended... How do you, like, back off people? Okay, Oh no, I lost it. Uh...
树 富
That's rough.
主 央
Hmm. the heck? I want to say like, oh, I don't know what that is.
尬
I have no idea what that is.
拢
It's clearly not that. Very new.
写
So what? This like, oh, okay. The den thing, yeah, the mountains. Okay, all right. Oh, is it like
格 愁
yellow?
法
What the members in Hill? The heck is that? I don't know what that is.
Kang 呼
I don't know what that is. We're gonna have to work on that one. What do I do with tremendous power? Tremendous power doesn't describe anything. We're gonna need help with that. Yeah, that doesn't work. Surveyed is not good. That's not working out. And this one isn't either. So what? Seaweed. Oh, could it be?
铺
What? Oh, T. Dude, there are so many characters. The heck? What? Something makes me want to type like
R
I don't know why it's R. Hmm. Oh. I don't think it's, yeah. Hmm.
灭
That one's rough.
西 之
What's going on here? I have no idea what that is. Gonna have to modify that too. Hmm. Oh no. Huh.
深
Oh. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
堪
This one we're gonna work on. I don't know about this one. Why am I losing the fingers? What does the fingers have to do? Uh. It's like, it's kind of like frustrated. Yeah, frustrated. Okay. I think that's okay. This is like, preventing without authority or something. Right. Chung. Okay. It's Shrek. Oh, you know what? There's nothing pointing to the pawn shop, actually. Yeah, there's nothing pointing to the pawn shop. Okay. I need to somehow establish it's Shrek and not a Hulk. kind of a 50-50. It's in the wrong place. I kind of edited that just now. Did I use... Yes, I did. What? Oh. Sure, not sure. Xiao. Why am I typing Jiao? Oh wait, maybe it's not. I have to double check.
拧 汉 飞
What? Oh, I wrote the wrong tone. Wrong tone.
错 笑
I have no idea what this is. Oh, wait. Could it be like... Or not? Hmm. What? Oh, one, not one.
硕 温 老
Somehow I want to type... Okay. Okay. Alright. That's fine. 50-50. Good enough for now.
熟 愁 齐
The heck? This, there. I don't know how am I gonna remember there. This is not, this is weak. Let's go and work on T. Not good enough. And this isn't good enough either. And oh gosh, I worked on this so many times. Sorry. That's so awful.
双 哼
That's so weird.
善 允
Okay, that's it. How about clearing those characters? At least minimum. It's freaking 8:40 a.m. All right. We're only gonna do these and trust my vocabulary for now. I haven't heard sentences in a while. That's kind of everything. We have Trey. Trey. Ung. Ke. Duo. Jiao. Yu. Hua. All right. So Charlie Brown. Oh no, Chucky. Inside. Beach house. Really? Inside or outside? Inside. Okay, that's a little weirder than I thought, even though I thought it was J. I don't know, using his fingers to heckin' thump furniture made of willow. Oh, actually, I have no idea how willow. Let's see. We'll go with yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, I see it. Willow. Thump the willow. Practice his assassination skills. I guess maybe with a drooping willow. Then we have Casper, bathroom, English manor. Looking to an abused. An abused imp. Rubbing its legs, right? Rubbing its legs, offering a walking leg. Okay. Hermit, out front, electricity plant. Making sure the power generator dishes are sturdy. And using his elbow, knocking it. See if it's sturdy. Clear it of soil, dirt, and rocks. Okay. Luke Skywalker. Inside the office building. Once again, being in charge of wrangling a runaway turkey. Keep escaping, so he devised a special gauze out of silk. Serve as a net. Very thin net. He's patrolling. Patrolling is the link law for patrol. Okay. Jimmy Neutron. Bathroom. Barn. Learning to do barn work. The the genius way. Claps his fingers. A car shows up with the sedan cabin. Very high up, like a tower. Oh my gosh, hickin' tower. How do we do tower? That makes sense. Okay. And then Yugi, bathroom, house. Got some preparation from the armory. Working up more, got more equipment. Working up his heart with more willpower to go on. More everything. Hulk. Hulk. Inside auditorium. Spreading the word. Clamoring about his exploits in China, I guess. That's depicted in the play. I think it's like... Actually... That's a weird one too. So... Okay, the 4 that we have is Gal. How do we get Gal? The heckin' tiara is the worst part of this character. Oh. Actually, paste might be the part that's terrifying. Kun is pretty bad too. All of these are recurring. Oops, yeah. Oops. What was this? Kun. Wait, is it Kun? No, it's Kun. Okay. And Qi? Qi is pretty... Oh, I think that's incorrect. It's probably more like this. Okay. Because this is... Got... T, bears. What was the other one? I was about S for this. Yen is man. That's 2 things. Oh no. One thing. Member is selfish. Fall. Okay, let's look at these quickly before I lose my sanity. Okay, so let's look at Gal. Maybe I can connect it with Ache? That doesn't... Oh! But I can connect it with Tall. Okay. and also in the front where he's trying to help the animals in the barn at night. Right. He communes with the barn animals. When they call out their mouths. Offer them. Maybe he conjures up a special tiara to place on top. To understand them. Paste. All doesn't really help either. Alright. Healing ointments and healing and growth. Paste and ointments that allows the animal to grow up tall and healthy. The moon is kind of just lost. Okay. How does Khan work? Yeah, there's a shun in there. Surveying. Maybe surveying and recording a list of what secondhand goods are available from the incoming patrons. He manages to make a full list of secondhand goods that will help out pawn shop owner. But how does this relate to Kermit? Doesn't really. Managed. Hey. Despite having your arm and legs to be running around and surveying. I don't know. That's okay. So the read is not the problem because it always looks like T. Else trying to with sorting all of their their laundry that has been lost, all over their furniture. Tries to use a clothes hamper. Right, sucking up all the laundry and then spitting it out into clothes hamper to be able to wash their clothing. Can I lock it with something else? Period, flag, chess. Maybe gathering all of their laundry in a short period of time. All right, next one. I don't know how I'm gonna do this one. This one is rough. Fall. Is there anything I can attach to fall? Wow. Members. Shadowy Hills. I even did that. Profile documents. There's so many falls. And that's just a meteorite. Well, you know what? We can attach it to meteorite. We discovered that to do with a stone that has fallen from the sky. Something about an ancient full meteor. That has fallen near the hills by when many of the members were around. Okay. Alright, that's a wrap for today. Still managed to do the bottom line, I suppose, for HanziHero. Tomorrow, hey man, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to make up the time. But we'll have, what, this is the last week of February? Okay. Alright folks, that's a wrap for HanziHero today. If you want to watch this later, share. As always, feel free to follow along, pick up HanziHero for yourself, give it a go. You're always welcome to come on by and yap on occasion here and there. I love to discuss things, you know, bring your enthusiasm. It is really wonderful to share, right? To share the experience, but it doesn't have to be sharing the experience. Translationally, you know, we can create bridges of connection and discussion. I really enjoy comparing notes as people go about. I love enthusiastically talking about those things because when one is enthusiastic, another person may be enthusiastic, and if it's a shared experience, it's even more magical than that. Banter back and forth, get people excited and hype, challenge each other's notions and whatnot. That creates an excitement, a level of you know, a refreshing element of participation. I know, like, Manikani is really not the. I talked about this during And when I met the other person during Wanikani, exposure is fairly limited because I do things very differently, I suppose, but it's that difference that makes one interesting and invested. So certainly you can, I echoed this before, certainly you can trust the process, but trusting the process is not a passive, it's not a passive activity. At least I try not to encourage people to see it as a passive activity. Just because someone guarantees you that their tool is the best, if you're passive, you can only get as much as whatever the tool is able to passively instill in you. But when you talk about it, engage in it, and discuss it with other people, that's when there's transformation happening, right? It goes beyond, that is what I refer to as the process. The process involves output, feedback, critical thinking, and exploration, all while you're using something. So today was a really refreshing time to talk to someone who's been starting their HanziHero stuff. Until then, 大家下次见. Right, 看起来观看. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in a little bit because not that long, only 6 hours from now. Take care and good luck. Bye bye.